Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta, and we begin with legislative matters. A bill seeking amendments to the 2023 Appropriation Act has been transmitted to the Senate for consideration and approval. In the communication, President Tinubu requests extension of implementation of capital expenditure from 31st March to 30th June 2024. The President also requested Senate to amend the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act from 31st March to June 30th, 2024.
These extensions are necessary to ensure that the provisions of the Acts are exhaustively implemented. While looking forward to the usual expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the President has forwarded to the Senate the judicial office holders' salaries and allowances, which seeks prescription of their salaries, allowances, and other benefits. The bill aims to end the prolonged stagnation in the remuneration of judicial officers and bring it in tune with current economic realities. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has passed two bills for acts to extend the implementation year of the 2023 national budget and its supplementary components from March 31st, 2024 to June 30th, 2024. The accelerated consideration of the bills followed a letter by President Tinubu seeking approval of the House to extend the timeline for implementation of the 2023 budgets as well as the supplementary appropriation. At the Committee on Supply chaired by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, lawmakers amended relevant sections of the 2023 Appropriation Act and its supplementary component to extend the deadline for their implementation up to 30th June 2024.
Act, which will not allow the government to implement the budget within that delimited period. So there is need for us to extend to June so that the budget will be implemented effectively for the good governance of Nigeria.
A bill for an act to amend the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to extend the implementation year from 31st March 2024 to 30th June 2024 and for related matters, and thereby approve clauses 1 to 3 and explanatory memorandum and the long title of the bill.
National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikpen reports that the House at Wednesday's plenary also passed the Student Loans, Access to Higher Education Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024. And the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Mohammed Matawale, has disclosed that the 2024 budget of the Defense Health Maintenance Limited will ensure effective operation in support of the armed forces of Nigeria. The minister said this during the 34th meeting of the Board of Directors of the organization at Ship House. Addressing the board members, Matawale said that the estimated budget has demonstrated that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda is making welfare matters of the Nigerian military a top priority. He He therefore charged them to be prudent and effective in the management of the resources in fulfillment of DHML's mandate. The minister said the Defence Health Maintenance Limited is living up to expectation in providing healthcare services to veterans and promised that government will continue to prioritize provision of quality healthcare services to veterans and citizens at large. Now, over 6-story buildings have been engulfed by fire at Dosemo Street, Idumota, on Lagos Island, destroying goods, bringing to a halt trading activities along that axis. Amaka Owo reports that the fire, which commenced at about 8 o'clock in the morning, continued till the time of filing this report.
Some traders who ply their trade along the Dosumu Street on Lagos Island woke up to the sad tale of this fire incident that led to the collapse of a 3-story building, with more of the buildings affected showing signs of collapse. The structures were said to serve as warehouses for clothing.
Around 7.
7 in the morning?
In the morning, yeah.
Since then?
This morning.
Okay, so what has been happening here?
No, I just came here. I see what the fire happened. The fire is starting when I come here. So, what the problem is that they are no competent on the work itself.
Why should we be surrounded with water in Lagos State and still we are still lacking water to quench houses that are burning?
This incident happened last year from right of this building. I was selling Ghana must go and it got fire. Then I packed everything right to this building. The same thing happened again.
In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
And Amaka Owo is still at the scene of the incident to give us an update and of the fire incident that we hear brought down a 3-story building. Amaka, it's over to you.
Okay, so thank you for joining us. I'm right here at the scene of the fire incident. I was here much earlier and came back to see what the new development of events, and right now I've been informed that the fire has been put out successfully, but what's going on now is a dampening of little infernos that might be coming up here and there in this at the scene of the incident. And it's really a sad tale, like I stated in that report, because about 6 buildings were affected by this fire. And I must tell you that this Idumota market is a very important market. It is one of the markets that makes Lagos has been ascribed as the commercial nerve of the nation, and it's one of the largest markets in West Africa. But it's been coming a recurring decimal when we're talking about incidents of fire outbreak in this very market. And today was really a sad tale because it took long hours before the fire could be put out successfully by all joint efforts by rescue collaborative efforts. So I have some people with me here who will talk about this issue, especially the ideology of the market. Her name is Alhaji Riskat Abeje. She's here with me to talk about this incident.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody that helped us today. I thank you very much. I was so happy because the fire now is stopped. I thank God for it. And I want to beg the governor of this Lagos state, no time we call him, he won't answer us. He always answers us. I want him to help us about this situation because all these marketers selling here, they are collecting loan everywhere and then. And what's gone today is about billion. It's not small money. It's much money. I want the governor to stand for us, to help us, to do all the necessary things, and to talk to the bank. They should reduce the percentage they will collect from everybody, and both the insurance. Please, our governor, please come to our aid. Help everybody. Please, we beg you, we beg you, we beg you, and we thank you. I know that you will do more than what we expect. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Miskat. So I also have with me the state coordinator of NEMA, who is also here. So I want to ask him a very pertinent question. So why did it take so long for the fire to be successfully put out? Please, Mr. Farin Loye.
Well, you know, the fire started around 5 a.m. and by the time we got there, where the fire started from was fully littered. We have a major problem of sourcing for water to replenish expired tanks. So the whole of Lagos Island, we don't have fire hydrants. We have to go as far as Guinness. So that's a major factor. Aside from that, stakeholders were coming in. As they were coming in, some of them were trying to salvage some of their property. This obstructs sort of accessibility to the place. So as at now, we don't have much problem except for sourcing for water.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Farin Loye. We believe we will continue to update us about events that unfold as they unfold here. And so that's the much we can take. Of course, crowd control in this axis is also another difficulty because the buildings are so connected to each other such that you could throw an item from one building and it gets to the other building with ease. So access for rescue operators is also a Herculean task. So that's the much we can take. Thank you. We'll also bring you updates as events unfold in this axis.
Thank you very much indeed, Maka, for that update. Now, Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, says establishing a social housing scheme for internally displaced persons in the country can be a solution pathway to help fast-track their resettlement. She offered the recommendation at a meeting with United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, who led a delegation of UN team to her office. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo has more.
Aminat Mohammed flies Nigeria's flag high at the United Nations, where she is the Deputy Secretary General of the World Body. Her visit to the office of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, is a follow-up to their engagement at the United Nations General Assembly in 2023 in New York, where discussions centered around improving sexual reproductive health of women, IDPs, and youth development.
Talking about women's health.
With some of these issues, especially birth registration, women empowerment and youth development already on the front burner of our initiative, the First Lady says limited resources at her disposal will be invested in building a future that is safe for all.
It's a huge, population. So there are different, we're talking about TB now. Is it there? Yes, HIV, AIDS. So many things. But I'm there. Trust me, I can tell you that. I'm there, I'm thinking. Even if it's a little help, let me do something.
Underscoring the need for the nation to be accountable to its resources going forward, the First Lady called on youths to embrace several initiatives designed to impact them.
So when funds comes in, despite the social problems, there are guidelines that comes with it. Even if I'm receiving money from United Nations, there are guidelines that these are the things we want to do.
By putting women at the center, the health strategy of Nigeria is a laudable one, a fact which the UN Deputy Secretary General took note of.
We will be supporting our country teams to support the government. But I would say the bulk of where resources need to be invested are youth, women and girls. It doesn't leave much out, but this is where we really feel the pressure.
And we wanted to take an initiative to support the government to put a safety net that can help at least the most vulnerable. And I think your voice and your support in this regard will make a big difference.
The engagement between Nigeria's First Lady and the United Nations Deputy Secretary General sure holds a lot of significance for women, the girl child, and other vulnerable sections of the country. This is especially so with the commitment of United Nations to retain its focus on these sections of the society in the implementation of its social agenda. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Eliminating poverty through protection and empowerment of vulnerable people across the country is among top priorities of the present administration. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Delu Bolus Yakubu, emphasized this during an engagement with management of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Joseph Watson has the report.
Nigeria is going through difficult economic times with high cost of living on a high. The present administration has outlined programs to improve living standards of many, especially the vulnerable, with skills acquisition, grants, and education to be self-reliant. This collaboration between the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation with NTA is to utilize its capability to help the target persons assess the benefits.
Creating awareness in the areas of out-of-school children, skill training for jobless and the poorest of the poorest, especially women and youth, empowerment program to encourage those in small businesses, mobilization of relief materials, foodstuffs, and other relevant social needs for those in distress condition.
And of course, this is part of our mandate as established by the Constitution. In view of this, we are ready to work with you in this assignment to alleviate the poverty of Nigerians and ensure that all ongoing activities and initiatives are well projected to reach your targeted beneficiaries.
The World Bank has reported that number of poor Nigerians increased by 24 million between 2018 and 2023, a number the government hoped to reduce with its short and long-term plans. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Let's talk education now. A meeting to resolve the strike embarked by non-academic staff of the nation's public universities is ongoing with the Minister of Education. This is sequel to an emergency meeting convened by Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, in his office. The two unions shut down services in public universities on Monday, which they said will last 7 days to press home their demands, part of which is the release of withheld salaries following their strike of 2021. Meanwhile, basic education is a universal and fundamental human right. In line with the global innovation of information and communication technology, Enugu State government has embarked on the construction of smart schools at the primary level to acquaint pupils with the knowledge of internet technology. Chiegon Waro is standing by to tell us all about the smart schools after this report.
30% of the Enugu State budget for 2024 has been earmarked for education sector. The government has put promise in motion by building technology-based primary schools across the state to ensure that children of primary school age are exposed to the 21st century technology, information, and communication. Each of the smart schools, according to Governor Pitamba, will be equipped with internet access, solar power, a modern ICT center, 2 well-equipped laboratories for primary and junior secondary schools.
In my view, education is probably our greatest weapon in our war against poverty eradication.
Because education is a driver of development and a strong instrument for eradication of poverty, the concept will go a long way in salvaging the human resources of the state from the base. In Enugu, Chiegono Aro, NTA News.
We are still staying with Chiegono live now from Enugu to tell us more on the Smart Schools project. Hello, Chiegono. What more can you tell us about the Smart School project?
Good afternoon, Ifoma, and welcome to Enugu. The Smart School is really a kind of dream come true, because from the inception of the government of Pitamba, he was clamoring on a change, a kind of swift change from what it used to be to a new order in education, and education being the pride of a global kind of understanding and change. People are clamoring for a new kind of education. And he went into ICT because information technology is what is ruling the world now. It has made the whole world a global village. And he started with what he called a smart school. We have been asking, what is the smart school? What is smart about this school? But we came here to see a finished smart school, and we can see that there is really every reason why it should be a smart school. It is supposed to be a day school. It's not a boarding school, but all the teachers are living here. There is staff quarters for all the teachers, and every classroom is computerized with a solar power that will ensure steady power supply. It is supposed to get 886 pupils in each of these schools, and each of these schools is supposed to be replicated in all the wards in Enugu State, and Enugu State has 260 wards. You can imagine when 260 wards in a state own this kind of school in their ward. It's really amazing. We have gone around the school and we have seen for ourselves that it's really a green school. They call it smart green school because there is a space for rearing of fisheries, piggery, poultry, and what have you. He really wants a child to be groomed and have what we call self-actualization when he's grown up. From this age of nursery, there's nursery class here, there's pre-nursery, there is primary school, and there is junior secondary school, all encompassing in one outfit. And it has a security network that nothing goes unnoticed here. Every smart teacher, because that's what they call themselves, smart teachers, they have tablets. Individually, they have tablets from where they record the students, they upgrade the students, they give them homework, and they mark their scripts on these tablets. Also, the children themselves have school meal program. Meals, afternoon lunch will be encompassed in the program, so that every afternoon the children will eat before going home. There is bus service that brings them from their homes to the office, to the school, and then from the school back to their beautiful place. It's a beautiful place.
Chair Gono, I just want to find out, this smart school, are there criteria to be admitted, and is it going to be for free?
Yes, it is going to be free, and the criteria is the teachers with knowledge of ICT.
I'm sorry, you seem to have lost Chair Gono there, and quite a commendable initiative by the Enugu State government there. Still talking education, the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, has charged the State Universal Basic Education Commission Board to step up the implementation of open schooling program to reduce the persistent challenge of out-of-school children in Nigeria. This was at a discourse between UBEC Executive Secretary Dr. Hamid Boboyi with Chairman and Directors of Social Mobilization of Nta Nationwide.
The subsector, by an acute shortage of schools and classrooms to comfortably accommodate those who are in school. The schools are few, with the children covering long distances to reach the nearest school to their homes. The classrooms are congested in many instances, and with no furniture, learners and teachers operate under a very difficult environment in many parts of the country. These factors have implications for our efforts to ensure that every Nigerian child has access to quality basic education.
We all know that access to basic education in Nigeria now is somehow, and of course that has given rise to quite a numbers of out-of-school children phenomena we are seeing all over the country. And when UBEC told us to signify interest, we saw it as a noble enterprise to address the phenomenon of out-of-school children.
Dr. Hamid Boboyi said this will create a flexible platform for the Nigerian child to access basic education. He added that it is imperative no child is left behind in the quest to achieve basic education. And away from education, the Steering Committee for Nigeria Digital Identification for Development, also known as ID4D, has been inaugurated. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, represented by the Permanent Secretary General Services Office of the SDF, expresses optimism that the committee will be instrumental to the implementation of Nigeria's strategic development roadmap. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Nigeria Digital Identification for Development is a World Bank project domiciled at the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC. The aim is to ensure that Nigerian residents are enrolled in the Digital Information and Identification System. Now, a steering committee has been inaugurated to facilitate access to quality service delivery in the sector that will boost the Nigerian digital economy, amongst other duties. The steering committee members include Ministers of Health and Social Welfare, Budget and National Planning, Interior, Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. Others are Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. While the Secretary to the Government of the Federation will chair the committee, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of NIMC will serve as the Secretary.
The principal aim of this project is to increase the number of persons with a digital national identification number, known as NIN, issued by a robust and inclusive fundamental ID system.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation also urges them to improve on the services in the sector while acknowledging the substantial increment in the number of enrollees since 2018, when the National Identity Development Roadmap of the country was approved by the Federal Executive Council. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
We now make our first stop on Nationwide, and Lagos Network Center is first on our lineup with Hingino as our guide. Good to see you, Hingino.
Thank you, Ifoma. In line with the Chief of Army Staff vision of empowering men of the Nigerian Army with necessary skills needed to tackle security challenges within and outside the country, the Nigerian Army College of Logistics and Management has organized a training exercise for its personnel. Bolaji Akim reports that the training exercise is tagged Operation Ofunwaga.
They maintain a nation's territorial integrity, secure from land, air and water violations, as well as suppress insurrection and restore order. With this, there is need to engage in training and retraining. This explained the exercise Operation Ofunwaga. It is the Junior Leadership and Staff Officer Course 2 of 2023. The training exercise is expected to equip officers on critical knowledge and operational tactics needed in carrying out their roles while on operation.
When you are graduating here,
addressing course participants, the Commandant, Nigerian Army College of Logistics and Management, Major General Wisdom Etuk, advised the officers on the importance of understanding their roles while on mission. He charged them to seek knowledge, pursue and grab it.
Where they are taught on basic skills of war fighting, most of them are exposed to this for the first time. They are also taught on leadership skills and then what we call staff duties. Generally speaking, as we said during the operational orders, the level of confidence and the knowledge is obviously enhanced.
The training exercise will also assess participants in warfare, counter-terrorism, counter-insurgency operations, and other military moves.
They have a better understanding of the workings of the army, they have a better understanding of the conduct of operations, and they are better equipped.
Operation Ofunwaga is a 7-month training exercise. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
With the rainy season around the corner, mitigating flood and the attendant loss of lives and property prompted our next report, where some corps members sensitized the populace. Lynn Leneke reports.
They are core members serving their fatherland. Mitigating flood to reduce disasters as the rainy season approaches is necessary, and that is evident when these core members under the umbrella of Emergency Vanguard NYSC Lagos, in collaboration with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
Whenever it rains, people get to feel like that's the time for them to throw their trash. So we've been able to sensitize them today on not to do that.
Sensor Market, located in Surulere local government, provides the community with edibles, but hygiene is a major mechanism to healthy living to checkmate dangers associated with rainfall, thereby causing varying degrees of dangers among residents of the community.
And we also help them in cleaning their environment too, and pointed out some major things that are supposed to be put in checks, like the electrical appliances being used in the market.
Statistics by the National Emergency Management Agency revealed that in 2012, about 7 million people were affected by flooding and 2.3 million were displaced, and an estimated 3.6 trillion naira was lost. It is against this background that NEMA, in collaboration with core members, unanimously agreed that early preparation, prevention and proactiveness should be top priority to prevent future occurrence.
If you can't prevent a disaster, you mitigate it so that the effects will not have much devastating effect on the people, and that is one major mechanism.
I want that environmental sanitation, that Saturday environmental sanitation is very, very important.
According to NEMA, disaster management is everybody's business. As such, all hands must be on deck to reduce the impact. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Abuja.
Welcome back. Civil-military cooperation, a coalition of civil society groups, have strongly condemned the gruesome murder of military personnel in Delta states, calling for justice by bringing the culprits to face the full wrath of the law. At a joint press briefing in Abuja, the group noted that the Nigerian Armed Forces and other security agencies are critical institutions that must not be undermined.
Which we demand. We call on the culprits and perpetrators to immediately, without delay, turn in themselves for investigation in order to unravel the entire motive behind the gruesome attack.
Resolving trauma of these people is not enough to pay some money or just give them the benefits of the people, but the trauma, how you resolve it over time and calm them down.
It's time when every Nigerian, irrespective of your tribe or whatever, to help the military to recover these ungoverned spaces, because this has become a haven for them to congregate and perpetuate whatever they want to perpetuate.
The issue of effective local government administration to reduce the nation's ungoverned space was also brought to the fore.
It's also the issue of the lack of presence or the lack of authority of the traditional rulers. This is a time for us to bring them on board and give them responsibilities, particularly as it regards knowing and identifying and probably getting those miscreants within their communities arrested.
The group commiserates with the armed forces and families of the victims, advocating for adequate compensation. And Aisha is standing by in our Sokoto Network Center to bring us more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Aisha.
Hello, Ifoma. Thank you for joining us here in Sokoto. Governor Ahmad Aliyu of Sokoto State has given 3 weeks ultimatum for the evacuation of the heap of refuse believed to have been the cause of the fire outbreak that destroyed a section of the Sokoto Central Market. He gave the directive while commiserating with victims at Kofar M Machine, the section that was destroyed. The report.
Firefighters worked for hours before they could contain the fire that started around 4 a.m. on Monday. The
The fire was said to have been ignited from a mountain of refuse that had accumulated for several years without evacuation. Governor Ahmad Ali, who was at the scene to commiserate with the victims, expressed displeasure over the refuse and ordered for its immediate evacuation. He says market officials and traders will be held responsible if the mountain of refuse is not evacuated within 3 weeks, after which the market will be closed.
On our part, as government, we shall do our best within our limited resources to see what can we do to assist the victims.
Chairman of the Motorcycles Marketers, Garba Mohammed Gwazi, said the inferno destroyed 20 stores, 44 shops, 110 temporary shops, a mosque, while 65 motorcycles and 10 brand new motorcycle engines were stolen. Though no life was lost, he appreciates the governor's gesture that signifies his concern over the incident. This is not the first time traders of Sokoto Central Market are experiencing this type of tragedy. In Sokoto, Zainab Said Abdel Nasser, NTA News.
The School to Farm program of the Universal Basic Education Commission is gaining grounds in Zamfara State, with more schools embracing the initiative. An agricultural show has been held for the second time to showcase the success of the program by more than 40 participating schools in the state. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The Universal Basic Education Commission (UBEC) has introduced the School to Farm program in basic education to inculcate practical agricultural skills among learners in primary and junior secondary schools. This is an agricultural show by the Zamfara State Universal Basic Education Board to enable the participating schools to showcase the farm produce realized from the implementation of the 2020 and 2021 School to Farm program in the state. The pupils were exposed to cultivation of farm produce like maize, cassava, yam, guinea corn, rice, and vegetables, among other things.
This program is organized to bring all participating schools together to assess their output and work together, share experience and adoption of best practices, and come up with mechanisms for the relevance and sustainability of the program.
It is essential that we continue to support and invest in agricultural education, ensuring a brighter and a more sustainable future for generations to come.
The Director of School Services, Garba Abdullahi Gusau, highlighted some positive impact of the program on the participating schools.
Model primary school Zormi procured colored printer for use in the school using the process they realized from the farming activities in their school. NPS, Nasarawa and Gurusu, all from Bukwim LGA, provided uniform and exercise books for 30 and 20 less privileged learners, respectively.
Highlights of the program include debate competition among some students of the participating schools, narration of the experience on their recent excursion to some agricultural institutes, as well as the inspection of the farm produce and small ruminants displayed at the event by the superb executive chairman and other dignitaries. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Well, that's about the size of our package here in Sokoto. We'll take another commercial break, and Nationwide will continue in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Aisha. And now to judicial matters. The Federal High Court's Abuja Division has continued its proceedings in the trial of two relations of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello in a 17-count amended charge filed by the EFCC against them. Ali Bello, Suleiman Daudu and companies allegedly linked to them are facing trials for laundering of 10.2 billion naira and using the proceeds to purchase choice landed property. One Yakubu Ghana, a legal practitioner who gave evidence as a prosecution witness, told the court how some of Yahaya Bello's alleged henchmen used dollar worth 950 million naira to purchase Meitama Abuja property for him. But upon cross-examination, the witness denied some of his earlier claims. Under the amended charge filed by the EFCC, the defendant had pleaded not guilty, while as Governor Yahaya Bello is yet to appear in court for his arraignment. In another development, the court has granted Edo State Deputy Governor leave to serve his processes on the PDP through substituted means. This is to press home his claims that he is the authentic Edo PDP governorship candidate for the November 2024 Guba election. Meanwhile, the court has dismissed an application filed by the Seventh-day Adventist Church seeking to restrain INEC and JAMB from conducting elections and examinations on Saturdays being the Sabbath, saying this infringes on their right to freedom of worship.
That this is a permissible breach.
Justice James Omotosho held that allowing the sect's application would confer undue advantage on them, particularly since the law has designated Saturday as an official working day. The Savicom presidency has opened its doors of partnership to the Nigeria Police Force to enhance effective service delivery in community policing drive. This was during an advocacy visit by the National Coordinator and Chief Executive Officer of Savicom to the headquarters of the Nigeria Police Force, Abuja. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The Savicom presidency has the mandate to ensure quality service is provided to Nigerians. At the Nigeria Police Force headquarters, Abuja, Savicom acknowledges the police as a leading security outfit with direct contact with the public and extends a hand of partnership that will upscale the quality of services being provided by the officers and men of the force. Take, for instance, ensuring timely resolution of complaints by the public. Building public trust and confidence in the security personnel is another area Savicom is urging the police to take seriously. With its efficient feedback mechanism, Savicom says it will monitor compliance nationwide and report findings to the appropriate authorities.
We are coming to review their key service improvement tool, which is the service charter. So we're going to engage with them and improve and review this service charter that is due. And so we're going to look at developing new standards, working on the old standards to improve on how well we're going to measure and track performance around customer service in the police force.
Embracing the open arms of collaboration with Savicom for improvement, the Nigeria Police says it has leveraged the community policing initiative to pluck low-hanging fruits in terms of rendering quality service to the public.
We have reduced cost of policing, we have reduced loss of lives, loss of property, loss of manpower, loss of energy. If you cannot even quantify the gains and the value that is added.
Both parties are on the same page on the review of the Force Service Charter, personnel capacity building, quarterly meetings and stock taking. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, has assured Nigerians on the introduction of initiatives aimed at bolstering massive production and providing essential support to farmers amidst the ongoing challenges posed by soaring food prices. This was during an interactive session with the Joint Committee on Agricultural Production Services and Rural Development. National Assembly correspondent Amina Seidu reports.
The Minister of Agriculture said the current administration is prioritizing food security in the 8-point agenda, which will help alleviate the challenges encountered in the country.
There are steps that government has taken under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and other agencies too, starting from the dry season activities that we have launched, the wheat season, and I'm happy to relate that the wheat is under harvesting now as we speak. And also under the NAGs, the rice planting that is just about to take off, and we intend to cultivate 250,000 hectares of rice and 55,000 hectares of maize and 30,000 hectares of cassava.
Chairman Senate Committee on Agricultural Production Services and Rural Development, Saliu Mustafa, said the meeting is to ascertain the status of ongoing projects and sustainability for the development of the nation.
The committee wants a first-hand information, and if need be, we will proceed to see for ourselves where and how some of these have been done. As representative of the people, the committee is fully aware of the enormous responsibility on our shoulders, and we are committed to ensure that the policies and directives passed are fully implemented.
I think that we must have a plan to say, okay, this issue of rice, for example, is a stopgap. These are the other things we are going to put in place to increase agricultural production so that we can feed ourselves.
The session agreed for a collaborative approach between stakeholders towards achieving core mandates in the sector for sufficient food production in Nigeria. From the National Assembly, Amina Saidu, NTA News.
Super Eagles interim coach Finidi George ready to deliver in a double-header friendly plus other sports news around the globe with